I would like to tell you about the time when my older brother Larry and I were taking swimming lessons at the YMCA in St. Paul. He learned how to swim very well while taking lessons. I never did learn by taking lessons. I learned on my own in one or more of the 10,000 lakes we had in Minnesota. But although the swimming wasn't all that exciting, there was a time when we were leaving swimming, and it must have been cold weather because I think I had a heavy jacket on, etc. And I must not have known that I needed glasses yet because I was looking for a certain bus to take, and I couldn't see the numbers, so I was going to run across the street so I get a better view, and I darted out between cars, and a car was coming down the hill, and it was a rough street. They used these old paver bricks, and it must have been bouncing up when it hit me. And I flew through the air, landed on my feet, grabbed my air muffs, which had fallen off, and got up on the sidewalk. And the driver was ashen-faced, but my brother and I assured him that I was okay, and we went home. I think we took the bus, I don't know. But the next day I went to school. I must have been about 10 years old. I went to school the next day, and by noon, every bone, every muscle, every sinew, every whatever I had was aching. When I went home for lunch, I stayed home for the rest of the day, but I survived. Another incident I had with an automobile, I was working the summer after my junior year of high school, summer 1955, for the state, cutting grass along highway interchanges and such, and we had walked behind mowers, and for some reason one of the guys on the crew, we were all young fellas, had brought a car, and we were assigned to go get water in this water tank that we had because we worked outside 10 hours a day in blistering heat, and you needed a lot of water. So we went to get the water, and on the way back, the guy who owned the car let somebody else drive, and we came around a corner, and that guy who was driving froze, and he ran right into a tree. And he fell out of the car and said, "Oh, there goes my driving record." Whereas I lost my front teeth and banged up my shin, and I think it was the guy who owned the car banged up his knee, and he was a high school football player, and he was really concerned that he had hurt his knee. But now I have teeth, and I lived through that incident too. This isn't automobile related, but it's just about as exciting. I must have been in college, and this friend of mine from childhood, Bob Hislop, we were probably about 20 years old. We went to my cousin's farm in Mendota, and we were going to play basketball in their hayloft. And we were having a good time, and it was a stray ball, and I ran to get it, and as I reached to get it, I didn't realize there was a particle board over the hole where they throw the hay down to the cattle. I stepped on that particle board, and it broke, of course. And I plunged through, broke the frame of my glasses, and landed on a wood stove. And a wood stove isn't made of wood. It's about the heaviest piece of steel you can ever find. I landed on that, and I did not get hurt, which was really amazing because I probably could have died from that fall. So we'll go on to some other things then. I talked before about jobs I had as a young boy. I mentioned having a paper route, and I quit that because of school activities, and for a while I worked at a newspaper called the St. Paul Legal Ledger. I helped with the proofreading. This is an after-school job. I worked with an older lady there, and I suspect that she must have been the editor of the paper. And that was just a short-time job. And then after that, I started setting bowling pins from noon to midnight, Saturday and Sunday. And this was one step above the old style. The old style was pneumatic, I think, and you when the pins were in the rack, you'd push this bar down. Ours was really upgraded. We had an electric switch, electric cord we could pull. So somebody would roll the ball if they got a strike. We'd go down and pick up 2 pins in the bowling ball. We'd go down and pick up 6 more pins, throw them in, and then we'd trip it and bring up the last 2 pins and throw them in, and we'd be done, and we'd jump over to the next lane. I did that, I think, for 2 or 3 years. I never bowled before that, and they gave me an opportunity when we had slack time to do some bowling. But that was a fun job.